This is episode 11 of the Heavy Hockey Podcast. And I'm Lotsy, you know me, and I've got Dash in the Park and Kevin McCurdy with me tonight. How's it going there, gentlemen?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Excellent. No complaints over here.
Fun day of hockey.
Yeah, especially doing great after a fantastic day of Olympic hockey. So let's get right into it. We got some Oilers news to cover later on in the show, but for now, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what happened on quarterfinal Wednesday at the Olympics. Team Canada, what a game that was. Czechia gave us a strong performance throughout most of the game and had Canada on the ropes late, but late tip by Nick Suzuki tied it up, and Mitch Marner put on a show in overtime and won the game for Canada. So let's get your preliminary thoughts on what happened during this Canada game there, Dash.
It was one of those games where I never was really in doubt. But super impressed with Czech the whole way. Super smart strategy. I think they had a good game plan. Somebody on McDavid within a millisecond every time he was anywhere near the puck. That said, it created space for people around him. And man, who'd have thought Macklin Celebrini was going to come out and be the second best player in this tournament? And with all due respect to Nate, but he's clearly dealing with something. And to see Connor McDavid and Macklin Celebrini play together is something I could do till the end of time. It was fun to watch. So that third goal happened. I missed the too many men like the rest of the universe. But I didn't really feel doubt. I thought this is kind of one of those times where one of these guys need to make magic, and they put the pressure on from that point. They own the game from that point. What a tip. What a tip. I was going to miss the net by a good margin, by a Michael Hebert, 6-7 feet at least. And got that tip in. Marner, as we said, it was the hero in overtime and did it again, Mr. OT. Pretty cool game. Fun to watch. A little bit worried about the next game. I think Sid's going to be an important part of that. Whether he comes back at all will be interesting to see. So that was the gut punch for the game, if you want to go good, bad, ugly. Just a fun day of hockey. We'll get into the rest of it, but that's my overall assessment.
What about yourself there, Kevin?
I think the story for me out of this is just a bit of how much the Czech team frustrated Team Canada today. It was not as easy going as, Czech team is never an easy team to play against. For whatever reason, this team always gives us fits. But in this particular case, the Canadian team could never really seem to pull ahead in any meaningful way. And it was a dogfight right to the end. When I went up 3-2, I thought we were cooked.
You did,
to be honest, yeah, I thought that was going to be it. And credit to the boys for not allowing negative mindsets, because they fought back into it. And then pretty slick little maneuver there from Marner on the old OT goal. Nice to see him contribute, and some of the down lineup guys as well. I know that guys like Jarvis were taking some heat, and everybody contributed today in a way that at least makes those arguments a little bit harder.
I mean, Suzuki's the perfect guy to score that tying goal, is he not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
the entire country.
That's the Zach Hyman special goal. When you need some greasy piece of shit, you can get it done, right? That was not a greasy. It was a nice enough goal, right? So
that's a goal scorer's goal. That he took a shot that was going to miss the net and he put it in. Ultimately, that changed a finger point real quick across the country, right? Suzuki went from maybe being a scapegoat or a blame person to be, hold my beer.
Yeah. We have to worry about Crosby a little bit. I think that's an MCL, and I think there's a really good chance he's probably done. But well, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully not.
I say very, very, very good chance we see Sid again, and that's for one reason only. That isn't going to be the way Sid leaves the Olympics. You and I are old enough. I don't know if Lotsy is, but I remember Steve Yzerman playing on one leg for an entire Olympics, days after an MCL surgery. So I don't think Sid's going to make his last game be like that if it means sitting on the bench and taking 5 to 10 shifts on the power play and whatever he needs to do. And,
It just depends on if there's structural and if it's what it's rumored to be and it's an MCL, it just depends on what structural integrity is left in the knee, right? If there isn't any, they're not going to be able to, wheel him out there with a pogo stick. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it just depends on the tear and the degree of the tear. I've torn an MCL, so I know exactly what you're saying. Mine happened in football, and I took 3 steps back to the huddle and said, I better test this thing to see how much strength I actually have in it. And then when my knee and ankle were touching the ground at the same time, I was like, oh, all right, let's just roll over on my back here. Matt,
structural
trainer
is cooked. All right.
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of with you, Dash. I don't think we've seen the last of Sidney Crosby in these Olympics. I just don't, unless he can physically not walk. I think he's going to find a way to play. But at the same token, though, you got Kyle Dubas in the building today and watching that unfold, and he's probably going to ask some questions about the treatment of his star player. But some strangers on it today, on it right now with this comment. This is why you need depth. And Dash, you alluded to how the Czechs were playing McDavid throughout this game. I found, especially in the second and third periods, they were just lining up at the blue line double and triple teaming him. They were just suffocating him. And he still got 2 points on the night, which were huge. Like that first goal by Celebrini and the assist by McDavid was awesome. Then the power play goal by McKinnon. But of course, the Czechs knew they had to shut down McDavid if they wanted to win this game. And they did that in the second and third periods. And that's where Canada's depth shone through. You need a guy like a Nick Suzuki to step up, right? And he did that. Every single guy on this team is capable of stepping up. Like that. That's just how deep these teams are. Not just Canada, but all the teams with all the deep NHLers. Every team left except maybe Slovakia, which we'll get to in a minute. But every one of those guys has the ability to step up at the right time, and Suzuki did so today. And yeah, Kevin, what a goal by Marner! That was just an unbelievable individual effort. The kind of goal that everybody dreams of scoring at that level at that time. Just unbelievable to watch. I kind of had the feeling we were a little cooked as well, but I changed the jersey up. I got the rally cap going and just believed, because I know this team is too good to just fold like that. Like it would have been so crazy to see a quarterfinal upset with this Canadian team. So they're happy they pulled it out. Incredible game. And we're on to the Finns.
Speaking of depth, can we talk about the defense for a little bit here?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We can.
I got the box score in front of me, and if you want to look at time on ice, if we're going to talk about depth, Shea Theodore played 12 minutes, Colton Parayko played 10, and Travis Sanheim played just under 9 minutes. Makar picks up 26, Harley plays over 20, Drew Doughty 14. And where's Taves? Why can't I see Taves? 22 and a half. So that's 3 defensemen basically playing 60 to 70% of that game. And I really notice when Parayko's on the ice, and I really notice when Sanheim's on the ice. Kevin had some colorful things to say about Parayko before we started the show. And I thought Sanheim was the guy that really rubbed me the wrong way. I know there was a couple of plays where I don't know if Connor was beaver tailing his stick, like give it to me, but I think it was alluded to after the game by maybe Bieksa, and then MJ said it on commentary, like Connor wants it, and Sanheim goes cross ice and makes the safe pass, and there's a turnover in the neutral zone, goes back into our end, and I'm not saying Bouchard, but like Bouchard. I'm not even a huge Bouchard guy. Like, you guys have ever heard me being
No,
Bouch's God
I'm a
on here? Like,
I'm a
I
straight up
remember being
Bouchard.
hashed for that selection.
he's chaotic, and you know, like Suzuki played. My brother-in-law said this well to me today in a chat. Like, Suzuki played the role of Bouchard today. Let's make a couple of jackass defensive plays that puts the team in absolute jeopardy, and then say, "Here, hold my beer." You know, and that you know, it's Suzuki's a center. I get it, but I'm worried because that American team has a damn good defense, and they play defense. BX has said it too. They play the best defensive structure in this tournament. So if the Czechs are going to give us fits, I mean, I'm not looking past the Finns, but I am worried about our depth. I am. Kev?
Yeah, no, there's two issues. One is they got one guy on that team. Like, it's like this just foreign concept that they should take more than one defenseman that can make a pass out of their own zone. Like, that's crazy to me.
Doughty shouldn't
and-
look like the third best defenseman or fourth of.
No, Doughty looks like positively composed compared to what
Yeah.
I've seen. Like a couple of the goals against have been as a direct result of just lousy playmaking out of the zone, and including one today. So, like, that's a big deal, and being able to get out of the zone is almost more important than being able to play actual shutdown defense. You keep the puck on the other end of the ice, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. Like, and you know, you get somebody like Bouchard, and you know, I'm a positively a Bouchard glazer by comparison to some people, but the way he can keep at the opposing zone blue line and the way he can defend entries on his own zone blue line, like, those are skills that this team kind of needed. And I'm disappointed that he's not here. And I know we're kind of beating a dead horse on it a little bit, but just watching this team struggle to break out after we predicted that they would have struggles breaking out is it's not really the kind of validation that I want, right?
Well,
100%.
and questionable goaltending up until the last, you know, period.
I hate short-sided goals. I know it was Pasternak. I get it, but I hate short-sided goals, like, unbelievably.
Binner's let in at least 3 goals that I've said he really should have had that in the Olympics.
Hey, man, it was a 90-mile-an-hour slap shot right past his ear, but like,
all the credit,
a save somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Too.
Well, and he did in overtime.
Yes,
he did.
But he also these guys all go to like the Stuart Skinner, Tristan Jarry school of goaltending or something, man. They let like 2 or 3 in, and then they just like absolutely slam the door with like just the most insane shit you've seen in your life. And
why didn't you just say all-time Oilers goaltending? Why do
that's great. You just
why do you got to pick on Skinner and Jarry here?
I mean, but it's kind of true with those guys, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know, people would get driven crazy by the Skinner softies, and then the man would go nuts for the rest of the game, and the Oilers would claw back into it. And
yeah, and that was never said about Smith. That was never said about Koskinen.
Oh, even Steven Smith could be like,
well,
that,
I'm being
right?
Fantastic, bro. Of course, yeah. I mean, like, every Oilers goaltender seems to have had that. Maybe it has something to do with the way the Oilers play hockey. You know,
yeah.
When your culture's built on having to outspare your mistakes, it's a little tough to.
I have a hard time looking at the defensive zone play and go, you know what? Evan Bouchard definitely would have made this worse. Do you know what?
Yeah.
But I totally agree.
That's very well said. Yeah. Jeez. Like, that cherry yours is a little more level than it has been before.
Yeah. No, you look at these plays and you're like, yeah, he might have coughed the puck up here, or more likely he would do what he normally does when he plays 28 minutes a night and make some crazy play to McDavid when he's going Mach 12 with his hair on fire. Like, the only guy on that team that can hit McDavid reliably is Makar. And if they need to split McKinnon and McDavid up, having 2 defensemen that can pass to their 2 superstar forwards seems like a no loss situation for the team. Like, we've seen Evan Bouchard step up in the playoffs. He plays solid defense and actual defense, right? Like, I don't think you can really accuse him of too many misplays through the playoff runs the last 2 seasons. I mean, yeah, you can argue the 5th goal in game 6 or whatever, and that was a grenade at his nuts from Ekholm.
Ekholm,
Yeah, I don't put that on Bouchard at all. There's one play, I believe it was in the France game, where McDavid was just flying up the ice, and you watch enough Oilers hockey, McDavid's going to get that puck there. If that's Bouch, that's on McDavid's tape. But no, Parayko couldn't make the play in time. Then McDavid's going up the ice to play, stalls. And sure, there was another play later where Parayko just threw it up the wall blindly and gave it away, and it ended up in the back of the net. That's the type of stuff that we were worried about seeing with Bouchard, but we're seeing it with the ultimate safe choice in Parayko.
And we keep picking on Parayko, but let me deflect some back to Sanheim. I'm sorry, but I think it's maybe because he's right-handed. That's where, because I see, like you said, Ryan, in Oiler fan muscle memory, you think, oh, McDavid's doing his loop. He's starting to pick up speed through the neutral zone. And having that right-hand shot, it's a bang. Yeah. It's going to be on McDavid's tape as he hits. And then I see Sanheim go the other way. And I'm like, did you not see McDavid? What? Maybe we just see him too often to understand his trends and see it. But I really, for me, it's Sanheim. I just and his ice time shows it. 8 minutes, at least Parayko can invade some space in the crease and throw some cross checks and have a little bit of intimidation. I don't understand what Sanheim brings to this team. That's the guy for me. So I don't know. I think he plays defense like the Canadian curlers don't touch the granite.
And that kind of makes the loss right now, man. That makes the loss of Morrissey even that much more impactful, because
absolutely,
he can skate and he can move the puck a lot more than
and
Sanheim wouldn't even be playing.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Morrissey is that other guy to an extent, but I just don't think you can have too many of them. I get it. Again, Bouchard has his defensive warts. He's not perfect. A lot of people think he's lazy. I don't think it's laziness with him. I think he's just got I think he's a little too chill sometimes. That man has ice water for blood. He does not get upset. He does not get bent out of shape. He doesn't lose his cool. And he's pretty nonchalant sometimes. I don't think it's a laziness. I think it's just a perceived threat thing. And he gets burned or he gets tunnel vision and he misses the guy that's going to pick a pass occasionally. But when you handle the puck as much as he does, that stuff's going to happen. I mean, we saw McCarr give one away today, I think. It happens, and it's how the team recovers from it. And in the case of the Oilers, it seems to always end up in the back of the Oilers' net, or at least it did prior to their goaltending changes. And with McCarr, they have considerably better goaltending, and they tend to get bailed out a little bit more.
I think what it is with Bouchard is it's a combination of things, and it's, I don't know, maybe the sum. What's that idiom? The sum of the parts are greater than the greater of the sum of the parts. Help me out with whatever that is.
Yeah, we know what you mean.
Fool me twice, shame on me. However that.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's a combination of three things, and when those three things all come together, man, it's just it's a shit bomb, and he has no radar for danger. So there's a bit of that. Broberg was like that for me as well. I think Broberg just would get absolutely creamed behind the net sometimes. And it's buddy, look over your shoulder. Combined with too much confidence, to Kevin's point. I don't think that guy thinks I'm not going to make this play. I don't have a chance to make this play. I just think he...
And more often than not, he's right.
Right. You could be right 80% of the time, and you're one of the best puck-moving defensemen in the NHL. But that 20% of the time you're wrong, it looks like dog shit. And the third part of it for me is everybody on this team load manages, self-load manage. And if you're going to self-load manage, you can hide that a bit as a forward. You can probably even hide it a bit as McDavid because you're skating around a lot and not doing much. That would describe a lot of people on our team, skating around fast, not doing much, or skating around slow, not doing much. But when
We're talking about
Bouchard,
McDavid, right? Like that the guy that has involvement in more than half of the goals scored in the whole tournament for Canada.
I'm talking his Oilers
Oh, okay,
playing
okay.
days.
I'm just
How
checking. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page
the
here.
Oilers self-load manage. What Dry does it, Connor does it. And what I'm trying to say is that it's much easier to hide it when you're a forward versus a defenseman. And I think when Bouchard fails in those moments, like they're just epic because he's the last guy back when it happens, or he's just finds himself in these precarious positions where if he happens to be the guy to cough up the puck, you know it's going in the net the other way. So I think when you combine those three things, like that lack of radar, the overconfidence, and those moments where he's, just doesn't have enough F's to give because it's time to, play half against the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, but I think if you put him in this game, that stuff
that goes away.
Happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think with Bouchard, and one of the reasons I actually wanted him in this tournament is because you've seen all the comments from people like, oh, this is what it's like having McDavid on your team. Well, can you imagine if people actually watched 60 minutes of Evan Bouchard play hockey, that maybe some light bulbs would go out? And maybe there would be a shift in perception going, holy shit, this guy's actually good. Because people are actually forced to watch a full hockey game or several full hockey games. And you know what? There's every opportunity for that to go bad, for him to make some crazy shitty play and, end up being the laughing stock of the tournament. That's entirely an outcome. But I would bet money that it wouldn't be that.
Somebody can fact check me on this, but I think if the last two playoffs combined, he's the leader in plus minus defensive points and overall assists, even maybe. Like
he's third among all players in scoring in the last three playoffs. Like right? Not just defensemen, all players.
He smashed Paul Coffey's records,
Yeah, no, he catches a lot of unnecessarily like low energy hate from people that just don't understand the sport of hockey or refuse to actually watch what he does, and all they see is the negative stuff, right? Like, and again, I will fully admit I am pretty defensive of him as a player because I'm extremely impressed by what he brings 98% of the time. Yeah, there's absolutely times where I go, well, what the hell are you doing, Boosh? No question. But overall, he's a dude that brings way more than he takes away from the team, right? Every year for multiple seasons, like any narratives to the contrary are just not really backed up by results.
Hey, I totally agree that he should be here over some guys. Parayko and Harley's a guy I thought had no business being on this roster, but I think he's proven me a little wrong. I've liked his game. Brett Dash, you said he got like 20 minutes tonight or this morning.
Just under, something like that. I'll go back and look.
Approximately. So anyway, regardless, the ice time distribution shows you just how top heavy this is, and that shouldn't be the case on a Team Canada when we have as many superstars as we do. And you have the second highest scoring defenseman in the NHL sitting at home. It just shouldn't be that way. But let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about some injuries because we got some people in the chat bringing up both Crosby and McKinnon's injuries. But let's talk about McKinnon for a minute here. So he got a little tied up with one of the French players at the end of the game on Sunday, and he didn't practice leading up to this game. Noticeably a bit slower in this game. Had him over on the wing with McDavid and Celebrini for a lot of the later portion of this game. What do you guys think about how this injury is impacting McKinnon's play?
Go ahead,
Kev. I thought Nate was pretty quiet today, to be honest with you, and I think he did well to contribute where he could. But it's pretty clear that he's not 100% right now, and I would say that that's the case for a few guys on this roster. So we're going to hope the stores that they brought with them are deep enough, but I have a feeling the roster is going to be pretty strained by the end of the tournament.
Do you feel it's affecting his skating?
I honestly wasn't watching Nate that close, specifically.
I don't think
So
it was like I thought he was moving well.
yeah, but even like couple percentage points in performance, it's pretty much imperceptible. But if there's just that one thing that he can't do or that he has to stay away from, then I mean, you know how it is, man. If you're not 100%, then you make compromises. When you make compromises, you lose. At this level, that 1% of performance that gives you the edge.
Yeah, you become
Exactly.
ordinary, or you become a superstar instead of the second or third best
Well, we've seen
player.
what McDavid injured looks like. He looks like a normal NHL player that's still really damn good at the sport. But when
Yeah.
McDavid's healthy and he's putting it together, nobody can touch him.
Well, look at him at Four Nations, right? Versus what
Yeah,
he's doing at the Olympics, which is
exactly. Yeah, he struggled in Four Nations, and I'm certain there was something going on with him
there
through
had
that
to have
year.
been. And this is our proof. We're living through our proof that there was something wrong. Because he shouldn't dominate the Olympics like this. And he is. Like, he's far and away the best player. Far and away the best player. I think he's
Yeah.
pushing the river 3 times that of anybody else almost. Just creating scoring chances and like you wouldn't believe. Nate's I'd say either a core injury or like ribs or else shoulder or something, because like I feel like he skates well in places. I didn't think it affected his mobility too much, but like you said, Kevin, even if it's 2%, it still looks a little different. The key thing that kept kind of tweaking me is that Connor's taking the draws. Like, he's being protected on the wing, and to me that tells me, if you can't take a face off, it's maybe shoulder,
Can we put a
core.
Oh,
pin in that pin in that one for a second?
Sure,
Because the
yeah, go ahead.
face-off thing was just
Oh, we
pissing
got
me off.
owned, owned.
Like it was really bad. Like we could not win a face-off for the second half of that hockey game.
I'm like, can they not just send out Draisaitl?
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, absolutely. Get the burger flipper out there, man. Like,
Well, and then look at the Americans,
yeah.
right? Like, I don't think they lost a face-off in the third period.
I didn't catch any of that game, but I mean, that line with McKinnon, McDavid, Celebrini, you got 3 natural centers there, right? So you're Nate, the only right-handed one there. There'd be time and place for him to take the draw if needed, but McDavid is kind of the best of the 3, so you put the best guy at center and have him take the draws, right? Like,
Yeah.
and Cooper was loading up McKinnon with those 2 at times previous to the McKinnon injury. So I don't know if it's partly the strategy or if it's to protect him a little bit. But Austin Hockey in the chat here says that he didn't see him powered by a defender at all today, and I didn't really see that either. Part of that could just be that being a product of him playing the wing and like being attached to the wall a little bit more, not getting the chance to really dial it up through the middle like he might in an NHL hockey
Oh
game.
man.
But I don't think we can discount the little knee injury. I don't know what he's got, but it
The
looked like
neutral zone
lower
trap,
body.
though. The trap today that they were playing was gross. Like they had so
Yep, that's a
much trouble
factor.
getting through the neutral zone and into the OZ. It was really, really tough going out there.
Well, I saw one of the other preliminary games, intermissions. They interviewed Doug Armstrong on the panel, and they asked him if it was a plan to put Mac, and Mick all together, and it said there was a shift. I think BX actually went back and asked Armstrong, and he kind of just agreed that that's what happened. But there was a shift where something happened, and Wilson kind of pulled himself. Like, he came out and then did a lap and just went right back to the bench, and you could see Coop like, oh, okay, and just like, Mac, Nate, you go, and that created the McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini line, and then I think they lit it up immediately, stayed together. But up until that collision with McKinnon versus France, I think they were still taking turns on faceoffs. I don't think McDavid was taking exclusively like he was today. But yeah, the US game was similar to ours, how the US was winning. I'll just go try to find some stats, but I'd be shocked if Trocheck has lost a faceoff in the last game or 2. And I'm not kidding. Like, I kept watching. I'm like, Trocheck doesn't lose draws. And then the announcers actually said it with like 4 minutes to go. They're like, oh, this is why Garen wanted him on this team, and here he is. And so
Well,
I'll go try and look.
the States have played against some pretty good centers in the last 2 games. They got Germany in their last preliminary round game. That's Draisaitl, Stützle, right? And then today you would have had everybody on the Swedish team. So there's it wasn't like those are easy gimme face-off wins for Trocheck. Let's use that to transition into some of the other games that happened today. Let's talk about the Americans against the Swedes. It was a nothing game until I think it was in the third period. I didn't watch that one live, so someone might have to correct me if I'm wrong. But I know the States went up 1-0. Sweden tied it with a minute 13 or a minute 31 left. Mika Zibanejad from the left circle, and then Quinn Hughes in overtime won it for the States. Are we surprised that game was close? Like, I don't think any of us are surprised that the States won, but are we surprised that it was that close? And should we be worried about the States scoring going forward? Because they only put up 2 in this one and only 1 in regulation time.
I think, I mean, the difference between the US and Canada is that the US is basically better at D, better in goal, better with depth, and doesn't have the high-end superstars, in my opinion, that Canada does. So our high-end superstars need to take over the game. I mean, I can't find face-off stats, but you're looking at even time on ice. Like, Matthew got 18 minutes. Eichel got 21 minutes. Brady got 16 minutes. McAvoy got 19 minutes. Boldy 18, Faber 19, Matthews 18, Getzel 17, Slavin 18. Like, everybody played 18 minutes, other than Clayton Keller, who played 4 minutes.
It's literally the difference of watching the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers, like kind of all over again, right?
Yeah.
Like they're similar styles of teams. I get it that this is an extremely high octane version of the Oilers, but like, just how they do minute distribution, some of the coaching decisions they make, overall like management philosophies and stuff, and just places where we've kind of owned golds into a little bit more mediocrity than we should at the for the purposes of being loyal to people who were there for 4 nations, right? Like,
So are you saying that Cooper is going to the nuclear option too often?
Well, no, I'm saying John Cooper is John Cooper, and let him coach, and we should probably take that advice about Chris Knobloch a little bit more too.
Yeah, fair.
Absolutely. I think that's a fair assessment. I think the States, they're stacked on defense, and we know how good their goaltending is, but I don't think their forwards compare to Canada at all. I think we have the best top-end superstars in the tournament. I think we've got 3 of the top 4 scorers in the league right now, I believe, and Leon being the one that we don't have. Right, where States are deep, but I don't know which one of them is going to break a game open. I could go through a list of Canadians that could break a game open up front. So if it comes down to that, which
Quinn Hughes,
seems
does
to
he count?
I mean, he did win the game for them.
He's not up. He's not up front. So you're right, Ryan. But that would be. I think he's the game breaker on that team. Honestly, like, he's the guy that scares me with the puck on his stick. He doesn't scare me in his own end. I don't know.
But no, that's probably right. And I mean, if you're game breakers from the back end, how far are you really going? Right. That's kind of my point. They're going to have to lock it down and capitalize on a Canadian error and see what happens. I'd still favor Canada in the game against the States, but we still got 2 semifinal games to get through. Canada, Finland. Or actually, before we go there, let's just kind of give the other quarters their due, because we had a couple other one other really good one, Finland and Switzerland today. Another comeback overtime victory. Finland was down 2-0 to the Swiss, and they came back on them and won that one in OT. Arturi Lehkonen does nothing but score big goals. So right. Fun for them. Yeah, sad to see the fate for the German team. I mean, I've got a little personal attachment to the German team because of my German friends. Shout out to Nicholas and Svenja. I'll have to send them to the show link after this. But yeah, I know they were in attendance for that game, Germany Slovakia this morning. They're at the Olympics in Italy right now, and yeah, so I was sad to see them have to suffer that loss and take that one on the chin in person. But Leon had himself a great tournament, second in the tournament and scoring chances created. Not the point output he would have wanted to have, but still had a good tournament. But the Slovaks, my goodness, they're far better than I could have ever predicted. They're such a young team, but Craig Ramsey has them playing super aggressive, and Juraj Slavkovsky is a whole different person in the Olympics.
Yeah, he is coming into his own in the NHL too, but not like this. Or maybe this is his coming out party, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this is his coming out party for sure.
Fun player to watch, honestly. He's a good tank out there. Yeah, it was an interesting game for sure. I really enjoyed watching the third period because that's all I caught. But third period overtime, and yeah, like Lehkonen, Mikkola, so good. Like you don't realize how good Mikkola is until you watch too. Like I was really impressed there. I heard that Paul Maurice was asked to coach the Finnish team. So that would have been interesting with McDavid versus Maurice in the semifinals, but
that would have been interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Florida's got enough Finnish players on there. I know they got Lundell and Lutsarinen playing on a line together in Finland right now, so wouldn't have been too much of a stretch.
Yep.
But I think Kevin and I both kind of agree on Finland being more of a mid team. Like I didn't expect Finland to get this far. I kind of thought they'd fall in the quarters and be that upset we were talking about. It turns out there wasn't really a huge upset. I don't know that Slovakia over Germany is a huge upset. I would have picked Germany, but that's a 50-50 game.
Sweden let Finland have it more than Finland took it.
Yeah,
100%. The Sweden team has some serious issues that they, as an organization, need to, and as a country, need to solve.
So unlike them.
Yeah, it's very, that's been very underwhelming results now for two major competitions for them, and I don't suspect that will happen again. It's pretty clear, like when you start alienating guys like Matthias Ekholm, like he's widely regarded to be one of the more liked dudes in the league. And it takes a special kind of ignorance, I think, to get under his skin in the way it did with Matthias. And it's really too bad that he couldn't be there offering his defensive genius and his wisdom as well to that team. But the coach and him clearly don't see eye to eye in a big way, and they elected to leave him home and still have middling results.
They need to bring in Nick Lidstrom to take over that program.
No, they need to do something because that's not working.
That brings me to another question I had. I think it was Craig Button. I'm reminded of something he got on a show. It might have been Nielsen's show earlier, within the last week or so. But talking about some of the coaching in this tournament and talking about the European coaches having to adjust to the NHL ice surface, or something that's even smaller than the NHL ice surface. Yeah. And here we are in the Final Four. There's Canada, the States, Finland, so one European team, and the other European team, Slovakia, is coached by Craig Ramsey, former NHL coach, North American coach. So, do we think there's any merit to that? Do the Europeans just not understand how to perform on North American ice?
Well, that's you saying that is what made me think of the Paul Maurice thing.
Yeah.
I think it's more has to do with the fact that the NHL is just that cutting edge organization, right? Like it doesn't matter if you're anywhere in the NHL, and people don't give this nearly. If you are an NHLer, if you've played one game in the NHL or you've coached one game in the NHL, you have made it farther than 99.999% of players to ever play the sport. It is, and that's no slight against the European leagues, right? Like that is extremely good hockey. Collegiate hockey is extremely good hockey, but the NHL is just this, like, you even watch it as guys transition from the AHL to the NHL, and they always just say it's just so fast. And if you ever get a chance to sit, ice level and watch the sport, behind the goal line or even along the boards, but at the end is really something when you see these guys actually moving at full speed. It's a crazy fast sport at that level, and I think that takes a certain kind of coach with that experience to deal with the strategies necessary to mitigate some of the risks of that.
Remember after the Four Nations, Connor said that was the fastest hockey he'd ever played in his life.
Yep, and look at him; he broke his own speed records following that. Like he's just going like this. Dude hasn't changed his skates out in 5 years, and he's out skating every piece of technology that's come out.
I mean, why would you change your skates when you got nitrous oxide in them?
Well, he just does it because there's no flex, man. Like I know jokes aside, like he might as well have rocket boots on, right? Like it's crazy what he can do and what these guys are capable of, how far they're capable of pushing the technology.
It really is nuts. But yeah, you're right. Like watching the game, even in the lower bowl compared to the upper bowl, it's a whole different experience. But when you're
Yeah.
down by the glass, oh boy, that is real different. But yeah, talking about the Four Nations being quick, and like this tournament is probably on par with that, if not quicker. It just depends. There's more teams in this tournament, which kind of pollutes the pool a little bit, dilutes it a little bit, right? But this is still some incredible hockey that we're getting to see. So
Yeah.
we're very lucky to get to see it. And we still got 3 more games or 4 more games. I guess there's a bronze medal game too, but 4 more games of this. And I'm excited to see it. So do we think it's anything other than Canada, US in the gold medal game?
Let's not get cocky.
Yeah, I don't want to go there.
It's not, and that's not a lack of belief in the team. It's a one game at a time, one period of time, one shift at a time, get to the finish line.
I hope so, Lotsy. But
I hope so. No,
Yeah.
it's the game that the world deserves to see. It will be, that'll be a game with how things have gotten politically and just the general like state of the world for the ages. Like
unless you
you're
mean
talking
women,
like Summit Series level of game, right? Like
oh yes, yeah, for sure. This is. There's no doubt. This is well said. Yeah, this will go. I mean, just the 12-year gap is what makes it that, right?
Yeah, that adds a little something extra.
Yeah,
yeah,
said.
and there's some guys on here that haven't won Stanley Cups. We know primarily who I'm talking about, but are really want to win something. And man, I can't think of anything to. Can you imagine just for a moment if Connor wins gold medal, what he's going to look like coming back from the Olympics? Like,
here's the thing: I've heard that today, and shot out of a cannon and has nothing but confidence, and you think he's going to tear up the league, or do you think he comes back because he gave it all and like
no,
you're not leaving anything behind. So
I honestly don't think that guy's endurance is human. Like he's got that same kind of thing going as some of the swimmers do, where he can just go and go and go. Like and I get it. I say sometimes, right, that it's fatigue setting in, and yeah, I'm sure there's times where he's got something going on and he's a little sick and whatever, but the guy's endurance is pretty incredible and unlike just about anybody else in the league, I think.
Okay, sure. But what you can't improve on a treadmill is emotional endurance.
Yep.
What's a better way to say this than finishing early? But I don't want him to.
Nah, I think if they manage to win it all, I think that's going to be an incredible motivator for, he's going to get that high of having won something and an opportunity to finish out and win something. Like that man thrives off of winning. So if you let him win not let him, if he wins through extensive personal effort,
he'll take it. Yeah.
You will be lucky to slow him down with the medal on the way back to Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't know if you're wrong. A little bit worries, that you just kind of hit your emotional peak, and I've done. Wow, that's fair. That's fair. Well, this tournament isn't over for McDavid either, and the U.S. play like they plan on playing if we get there.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about that too.
I personally don't think
taking a run at somebody.
I personally don't think there's a way Connor comes back hot from the Olympics, just because it's such an emotional investment. Whether they win or lose, you come home and you're dejected, and your feet are going to be dragging for a little while. And if you win it all, there might be a little championship hangover for a week or two, which I know Connor is very accepting of. He's okay with struggling at the NHL level for a couple of weeks if it means he can win a gold. Yeah, I support him in that. That's all good. But
yeah. I'd agree with you 100%, except for when Kevin said that if he gets a taste of that winning drug, that he might get it, and there's nothing that can stop him.
He's gotten two tastes of losing.
Argument.
He's gotten two tastes of losing, right? And big tastes in ways that emotionally scar you. And to get something that emotionally satiates you in the other direction, I don't know, man. I'll never bet against him. Let's put it that way.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Lotsy, hit my music.
Oh no. All right, I'm gonna go with it. Here we go. Dash's music coming right up.
Yeah, I mean, we're calling you crazy a lot tonight.
Don't go anywhere, Ace. That was not the end of the show. That is the start of everybody's favorite segment in all of Edmonton. Which is, well, you know what my favorite segment is when Kevin McCurdy's on Low Tide on 1440. Great job today, buddy. Okay. Call me crazy. You two right now, and all you heavies in the chat. But when Connor McDavid comes back after the Olympic break, he will slump. Ryan, call me crazy.
Ryan, you had to make one I can't even call you crazy on. Like, what's this? Mm-hmm. What's this all about?
Mm-hmm.
No, I just said I think he will slump, and I was gonna say that I think Kevin's also right, but I think that his approach will kick in starting in April. Come playoff time, I think if he wins, he's gonna have a taste that it's like the shark tasting blood, and he's gonna be out for everything in June or in the springtime. But I do think that there's a little bit of a McDavid slump coming after the Olympic break here.
Kevin's got him addicted to the drug of winning. You've got him drinking up blood like a shark. I kind of like these analogies, fellas. Kevin, call me crazy, but I think Connor McDavid slumps when he gets back from the Olympics. I don't think you'll leave anything on the table.
I don't think so.
You don't take
unless they get skunked, then I think that might be pretty hard to swallow. But I think if they manage to win it all, I think he'll be another man possessed second, he's going to probably look pretty close to the best out of everybody coming out of the break, right? Like, he's been playing hockey this whole time practicing, and not to say that the guys haven't been practicing, but the Oilers are famously bad coming out of long breaks. And I think that Connor doesn't really have any excuses there one way or the other, because he's been playing at a very high level, even though it might take him a bit to reintegrate with the systems the Oilers use rather than Team Canada uses.
And we'll touch on the new systems that are coming up for the Oilers on the other side of our middle segment here. But before we switch to that, I do want to hit on the women's game for just a minute here. Gold medal game, Canada, USA, the predicted final, the one that we all expect. But we know that the U.S. beat the Canadian women 5-0 in the preliminary round, and they had their way with them in the rivalry series leading up to the Olympics. Canada lost a game 2-1 to Switzerland in the semi, a game where they heavily outshot Switzerland and only won 2-1. So are we worried about our Canadian ladies against the States here, or do we think they can pull this one out?
They just have to play better than they did in the first iteration of that game, because they got spanked really hard. And yeah, the there's two outcomes. They either have a total war and the best team wins, or one team really stinks it up. And I don't think that's likely. I think it'll be a better game than the last one was. But they
It
did
better be.
receive some doses of reality in that game.
Yeah, that's probably just the slap in the face they needed. I don't think they're going to get embarrassed twice in the same Olympics. Yeah, I got faith in them for sure. I do. Anytime
Don't ever
who's
count
in the
out the
game.
Canadian hockey teams. Like it's
Yeah.
bad time. It's like counting the Oilers out.
Don't ever count out poo.
Yeah, having MPP back in the lineup is going to be huge for Canada. But I'm worried, guys. I'm worried. I'll be cheering for him with all my heart, but I'm
You
worried.
should be worried, but they can pull it off.
They can, but I'm heavily favoring the States in this one. If I'm placing a bet, my money's on the States. But y'all know I'm Team Canada all the way through and through. But I got to be real. So yeah, I'm a little worried, but well, I'll be watching and cheering them on like the rest of Canada will be. So with that, we're going to move into a little reset here. You're watching the Heavy Hockey Podcast, episode 11 with Lotsy, Dash in the Park, and Kevin McCurdy. And we are going to spend a couple minutes talking about our upcoming flagship event, the Heavy Hockey Showdown, coming up on March 14th. So a charity hockey game in benefit of the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton between Team Heavy Hockey Network and Team Edmonton Sports Talk, just in case you're unfamiliar with the event. That goes at the Downtown Community Arena March 14th from 1 till 4 p.m. It's free to attend. We're going to have Rob Clark singing the anthem. We're going to have Hunter the Lynx in the crowd causing havoc doing his thing. And we're going to have lots of activities for the kids. And so it's a very family-friendly activity. So a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon with the family. And I'm going to put the QR code up here for the Heavy Hockey Showdown pre-party. You'll see the QR code upper left-hand corner. That's going down the night before on Friday night, March 14th or March 13th at the Canadian Brew House. Doors at 5. Oilers game on at 6. Tickets are $10. Come in, watch the game, and we'll have the silent auction running in the background as well, so people can come check out the items. And the bidding's online, and I'll get the link out to you guys on my profile here within the next little while. I don't have it up there right now, but yeah. The Heavy Hockey Showdown's got the silent auction open now. Bidding goes till 8 p.m. on March 13th, and that'll be in conjunction with the pre-party. But we got that going on. Edmonton Sports Talk's going to be doing their Oilers pre- and post-game shows live from the brew house that night. So it's going to be a great night, a great weekend full of fun. And for the silent auction, we got a ton of great items this year from a lot of really generous donors from the Edmonton area. And I'm going to give them their due, so bear with me as I go through the list here. But we got Kaplansky's Deli, Dark Side of the Grill, Woodshed Restaurant. We got a really awesome exclusive dining experience at the Woodshed Restaurant. That's got a lot of bids on it right now, so get in on that while the action's hot. We got a Heart and Dagger Tattoo. Gave us a gift certificate for a tattoo. We got Cranky Jimmy Spice Company. We've got United Cycle. We've got a Connor McDavid print from them, so you can check that out on the silent auction site. We got Edmonton Riverhawks tickets. We've got Edmonton Stingers tickets. We got a gift basket from the Italian Center. It's a little gift basket from Sea Change and the Southside Audi as well. And we've got a ton of art for the art lovers out there. We've got Jay is painting, Lori Frank, Giselle General Visual Art, Wendy Lamb has given us some prints of her doodles that are super popular. Memory Roth. So lots of incredible art on the website as well. We got the Lingnan Restaurant, another awesome dining experience. We got I got to get the name of this right for the Nielsen family here. I want to say Silverberry Acres is what it is. That they've supplied us some soaps and beauty products. So we'll be excited to have those as part of the silent auction. The Derek Golf Club's giving us some merch. Yeah, like those are all the corporate ones that are involved so far, but keep your eyes out on the Savvy Hockey Network social media account over the next 3-4 weeks leading up to the event. We'll get lots of items showcased and we'll get lots of hype up for that. And so, yeah, it's going to be an incredible weekend, and it's all going to SACE, which is an incredible cause. Giving services to victims of sexual violence that need it, like free counseling and assistance with police and court services. So yeah, it's a underappreciated, under talked about, and underfunded charity that needs our support. So I'm proud to be part of the event, helping and doing what we can to support it. And I hope you guys will be willing to support us in this venture as well. So, Kevin, I know you're going to be playing in the game this year. What are your thoughts on it? How are you feeling about it?
Honestly, a little nervous. For those that don't really know my story, I haven't played any serious hockey in 15 years. Just I'm sort of getting back into the swing of it. That was sort of I guess a philosophical moment, we'll call it, when Dad died, that I was gonna play the sport again, and I've sort of just re-engaged with it and working through the being a bigger guy, obviously working through the conditioning and the pieces to be able to play a decently paced hockey game. So looking forward to that experience and to raising some money for a great cause, and hopefully a bunch of people listening can join us for that.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and yeah, looking forward to having you be a part of it and seeing how it goes for you out in the ice. And Dash, I know you're a big part of the event as well. What are your thoughts?
Don't bid on the Stingers tickets if you go to the silent auction. You just leave those alone. Okay. Yeah.
Rigged.
Yeah.
Rigged.
Absolutely. For those tickets, absolutely. Yeah, it's always fun. It's super fun. There's never been anybody that's gone there and said they had a bad time. I don't know what else I can say other than that, quite literally. So yeah, shout out to our sponsors again, and everybody Ryan mentioned for the silent auction, but also some of the sponsors that helped us take care of the ice and the jerseys, and and Jake Bradley Photography, who's coming out and volunteering his time again. Just really, really special event that's fun to be a part of. Having Kevin there this year will be all the more better. And whether I'm yelling from the bench or playing, I don't know. We'll see.
No, you're coming off of IR. You're gonna get your shit together.
I get a UBI I've got to take care of here. But,
yeah,
but we'll get there. We'll get there.
And thank you for reminding me to take care of our sponsors. Sloppy of me. But yes, a big thank you to Turtle Island Technology Solutions and the Sherwood Park Counseling Center and Flirt Cupcakes for being sponsors of the event. We definitely appreciate everything that you guys do to make the event possible for us, and happy to have you all be a part of the event. So having said all that, I think we need to move on to some Oilers talk. It's kind of what we do on this podcast, and we are an hour into it. We haven't even talked about the Oilers yet. But big news of the day is that we have some changes behind the bench, or I shouldn't say changes, a change. But before I get to that, Matty Savoy sent down to Bakersfield for cap reasons. He's going to play at least one game this week there as per the new NHL rules. Um, according to Puckpedia, if you go by the projected cap hit for the Oilers, sending them down when they did means that they'll be able to recall him by February 25th, their first game out of the break, just because they'll have had enough time for that cap to accumulate to allow room for Savoy to come back on the roster. That's the best way I can explain it, but that's strictly a cap move. So Savvy will be back for the first game. And Alec Regula is going down there for a conditioning stint. That has no impact on our cap situation. That's just giving Regula a couple games because it's been a minute for him. And the big change behind the bench, though, Paul Coffey back behind the bench once again. The press release didn't tell us exactly in what role or capacity, but we assume that he's going to have some say on how the defense is being run. So I've got my opinions on it. I know you guys do too. Kev, I'm sure you were talking about it on Low Tide's show today, so I'll give you the floor first.
Who'da thunk, hey Kev?
Yeah, who'da thunk? Imagine that. Never could have seen that coming.
Nobody.
Nobody
saw that coming.
Nobody saw it coming. I'm not surprised. I think there was a quote that came out of Knobloch earlier today after he had a Bruce Willis thrilled moment there. That I think he pretty much said that Coffey was going to run the bench and Stewart had been sort of pseudo demoted to focus on the penalty kill, and overall bench management stuff was going to be Paul Coffey. And, you know, I'm not, again,
I think Nobby just said whatever Paul wants. So.
Well, those guys sort of famously don't get along. But in a little way, and I think I said this on Low Tide show earlier, that's not a bad thing. I know that you largely want your management group seeing things on the same page, but you know, there's a famous quote from another coach out there, like I basically want the opinions that I don't want you to give me, right? Like it's a situation where he has three coaches that are pretty like-minded, and I think in terms of both their philosophy and how they their approach, and sometimes a little bit of wailing and teeth gnashing and not caring about hurt feelings is probably going to be a little bit more what this team needs. And there's going to be other times that the smooth sailing, you know, easygoing way is what the team needs. So having a mix of philosophies and somebody that's not afraid to, you know, shake it up is not a bad thing. There is some valid criticism of Coffey, especially from the playoffs, in terms of how he managed lines and just, you know, general refusal to review tape and analytics. And, you know, that's reasonable, but I'm not at all surprised to see the team at a very high management level intervene in this situation to see if they can inject something different than what they've been doing up until now.
I had to make notes. Okay.
Go ahead, Dash.
The accountability is good. Kev, I'll agree with you there. I think if he's going to come in and be that voice of reason, sure.
I don't know if it's going to be a voice of reason. It's just
that's what I'm saying, brother. And it's a voice, right?
Yeah.
You said something that's famously out there that he, you know, let me just preface this. I know Kevin would be fine with me putting words in his mouth here, but we're not in the dressing room. We're not, we're not in the videotape room. We're not in the team meetings, but there's enough words out there. Is that the way to put it?
Circumstantial evidence? Is that what you're looking for?
Thank you. That Coffey would not watch video, and he didn't care to. And his very common answer was, I don't need to because I know what it takes to win. You know, Kevin Lowe famously said he knows what it takes to win, and, you know, knows a thing or two about winning Stanley Cups, and you know, words take you so far. And ultimately, this is Coffey's third trip to the bench without another ring. Great accountability, fine. He's a shit disturber. Like, what's his role going to be? And maybe that's good. Maybe that's good. But what's his role? I don't know. Is he a spy? Is he a defensive coach? Is he going to run the PK? Is he going to run the bench? Is he going to
What do you think the odds are? What do you think the odds are that Paul Coffey, if this thing goes south, if Paul Coffey comes out the end of this, the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers?
If this thing goes south, he should be the fall guy, man. Like, how many times are you going to bring him in and say, "Oh, I'm going to fix things"? And
well,
all you
to
do is
be fair, I mean, he revived guys like Vinny Desharnais, and you know, he turned something from nothing in multiple players.
And
you know, Brett Kulak was playing the best hockey of his career under Coffey's tutelage. Even Nurse was slightly less of a disaster, although that is, you want to talk about root causes of where the Oilers are at as an organization. I think that contract has more to do with it than any other single factor.
He also had Broberg going. You know, you want to keep pumping those tires. I'll give you that. This ain't the same D, bro. Like, honestly. You know, like, if he can fix Nurse, great. Keep Bouchard going in the right direction, great. Eki, sure. Like, he's going to have to perform a miracle for that bottom three. Ultimately,
I don't think so. I really don't, actually. I think that Stastny is a player that needs needs a little bit of encouragement. I think Emberson's a player. I think actually Emberson grew quite a bit as an NHL player under Coffey's tutelage. That being said, Coffey is not perfect, and it's pretty obvious that there was a very high level decision involved here, and that one could argue came from the ownership level, right? Like, it's that at least that as a person that has watched this team for a good length of time, that's the interpretation one could come to. Looking at the situation, when the going gets tough, insert Paul Coffey. And sure, is it a spy thing? You know what? Honestly, who cares? This is a change that they wanted to make. It sounds like it's ruffled some feathers in places, although there's some conflicting reports on how valid that quote is. I don't know what it means in the long run, but in the short term, they are letting the bull in the china shop go. And I'm not necessarily sure that that's a bad outcome for where this team is at this season.
I got to keep making notes.
That's you're getting to some comments or some thoughts that I had as well there, Kevin. And I'm going to put the QR code
Come back to me. I made notes.
Editorials. Okay,
did you get your crayons out, Dash?
It's purple. It's purple.
Oh, I thought it was crayon.
It's purple. It's a purple Sharpie, and I made purple Sharpie notes.
All right.
Hurry up, Ryan.
I hope you got more room on your notepad there.
Well, I got to peel off another sticky pad. Then here, hang on.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go.
But up in the upper left-hand corner, I got the QR code for some heavy hockey editorials, the most recent of which came from yours truly this evening. It's called Coffey to the Rescue Again. And it's kind of alluding to what Kevin was talking about. When the bat signal goes out, Batman comes to the rescue. Well, today the bat signal came out again, and once again, Paul Coffey has come to the rescue for the Oilers. There's a very noticeable pattern that's emerged in the Connor McDavid era of the Oilers running to Paul Coffey whenever there's trouble. So first came in 2018 when he was hired as a skills coach, January 2018. What was going on with the organization then? Well, they were in a little bit of a tough skid. I want to say 1-3-6 or something like that.
Let me rephrase that for you. Cates didn't trust McClelland.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened within the calendar year, right? Coffey comes on as a skill coach. It's the first season after their second round playoff berth. They end the decade of darkness, and we're right back into misery again. So they end up missing the playoffs next season. Early in the next season, McClelland gets fired. Mid-season, Chiarelli gets fired, and Coffey's still around. So Coffey comes in when there's turmoil, and then there's organizational change within the calendar year. Let's fast forward to 2022. Now, we don't have an exact date for when Paul Coffey was brought in to be the special advisor to the owner, but all the evidence points to it being either late 2021 or early 2022, in the middle of that 2-11-2 stretch that got Dave Tippett fired in February of 2022. So trouble at the old mill. Paul Coffey to the rescue. And then 23-24 happens. They come off a Western Conference Finals berth in 2022. 2023, they lose in the second round to Vegas. They take a step back. The first 13 games of the season, they go 9-3-1. Coach gets fired, but this time Coffey gets pushed even closer to the team. Onto the bench he goes as the assistant coach to replace Dave Manson running the defense. And they go to 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row. And all seems well until this season. Coffey leaves the bench. Glenn Gulletson goes to Dallas to be head coach there. And Knobloch is entrusted with hiring his own staff, which is all great. We need some stability in this organization. Those all seem like positive things. 58 games later, here we are at the Olympic break in the middle of the league standings, crying for help again because we have a roster that is struggling after having to go through a little bit of cap shavings because Leon and Evan Bouchard got raises equating to $12.4 million in a year where the league cap jumped by $7.5 million. That math adds up to some cuts from the roster. It's not rocket science here to say this roster is weaker, but the Oilers don't have a lot of cap space, and ownership and the fans have Stanley Cup final aspirations. So you got to do something. Trouble at the old mill. Bat signal on. Paul Coffey to the rescue once again. I think it screams dysfunction. I think it screams toxicity. I think that especially if what your guys are saying about Knobloch and Coffey's relationship being a little testy at times is true, that's extra toxic. Think about this. Like you have a coach that you've just given free rein to hire his own staff. You've extended him to a 3-year contract. And then the guy that left the bench in the summer, who happens to be the owner's good friend and special advisor, back to the bench. We're watching you. This isn't going well. Shape up, right? That's the message that gets sent to Knobloch here. Even Mark Stewart, he got promoted to run the defense this year in addition to running the PK. There have been some struggles. I think the defense group has taken a step back in terms of quality, just from the personnel perspective, but I don't know if it equates to coaching or not. I think the whole team's taken a step back, but it's Stewart's problem to fix, and it ain't fixed, and his PK is struggling as well. So here's Paul Coffey for you. Shape up, right? That's where we're at.
In fairness, it seems to work. Like, that's the kind
it
of the
worked
downside
once
of this
before.
argument, right? Like you can see,
Does it?
Well,
at
we
the
don't have a
defensive
Stanley
results.
Cup to
The
show
Oilers-
for it.
I know they don't, but the Oilers had pretty much the best defensive output that they've had in years under Paul Coffey.
They had the
Lotsy,
best
how many?
roster too.
Lotsy,
Yep.
bingo. Lotsy, how many times has Paul Coffey been inserted?
By my count, 3 now, I believe. 3 or 4. This
Remind
might be time to, so yeah,
Remind me how many cups we
3.
have in those years.
0.
So how's it worked?
Not well.
I don't know.
Who's available? Can I ask? And I'm going to pull the dumb goaltending argument out here, and we're going to have to let Lotsy talk soon, or let Dash talk here because his lid's going to blow off in a second.
I don't have any more ink left in this thing.
Yeah, I know, but like this team, for whatever reason, has always had some foundational flaw, right? And I don't think it's a Paul Coffey thing or it's a Knobloch thing. Honestly, Woodcroft and Coffey would have been a deadly combination, and I think that might have been the answer. But Jackson wanted to, by all reports, wanted to put his own coach in, and I think that was maybe a little bit hasty. I think Woody was a gifted coach, and I think we will live to regret letting him go in the long run. But in the meantime, it's 2 years of Knobloch, and signs are pointing to there being trouble in Mississippi with him now too. So it's a tough spot to be in, and I just don't know who's available to fill these roles right now. There was some rumor about Pete DeBoer, but Pete DeBoer's right-hand man is tied up in Boston for the time being, at least for the remainder of the season. So if they want to make a wholesale coaching change, it's going to have to wait for the summer. And they're deep enough now in the season that they're kind of in that terminal flight phase of things where they, aside from the trade deadline, they're really not going to get to make too many more major transactions with the cap space and the possibilities that they have. So they kind of just have to ride it out.
I don't know where to start. If Pete DeBoer was going to come,
yeah,
his right-hand man is not in Boston. His right-hand man is about to have his third stint. Coffey would be his right-hand man. That's how that would work. Okay. Reeks of desperate, Ryan. I completely agree. I believe that this whole reek of desperation really reeks of dysfunction. If you want to pick another D word, from top to bench. I think it's weird that we have an owner, pardon me, that, can I use the word meddles? Can I?
And I'm with you on that.
I think he's too involved.
Yeah, that presence is too much. Like, none of
is
us
it
know
though?
the answer
Like,
for sure. But
is it like if you look at other organizations, like, I don't know, Vancouver, for example, or Buffalo, like.
Well, Buffalo's
I'm not saying their ownership is any better.
Yeah, no, I just
Buffalo, that's right, exactly. Buffalo's a special case of shitty owner, real shitty owner.
But like,
maybe we have one too. Honestly, he's got good money. Great. Who knows what lists he might be on? Who cares? That's not the point. Look at Cates is a more active owner than most. He also has a special advisor, which not all owners have. He has a special advisor that keeps getting injected into the coaching staff, which is basically saying, go into the dressing room and tell me what's actually going on. There's an owner that, what did you call that? Circumstantial evidence?
Yeah.
That does not necessarily see eye to eye with the current Poho and GM. I've heard that he is not happy that neither of those guys have decided to move to Edmonton or take residency in Edmonton. Stan Bowman still lives in Chicago.
I mean, to be fair, he kind of makes the hiring decisions, right? Like, he runs the hockey club in an ownership capacity. So if that was a stipulation of taking the job, you think that would have been a stipulation of offering the job. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe it was a stipulation.
Oh, then
I don't know, but maybe
we're getting pretty deep into the speculative weeds here.
No, I'm just dysfunction, man. This reeks of dysfunction, and that's not wrong. And you've got GMs that don't get along with owners, and owners that don't get along with Pohos, and Pohos that are in place for the sake of Connor. And I made a note. I'm going to go to that one. Does this kind of not tell you? Like, look, we've all speculated that Connor is more involved than he should be.
Right. I don't want to go there.
My wife said something really smart today that is like, does this not tell you how uninvolved he is? Because this is shooting not want to talk about it or not. This is shooting a shot over the bow of Bowman and Stan and Jackson, in my opinion. So
yeah, I honestly think, and
if you're gonna potentially risk Jackson and Knobloch, that's not a Connor McDavid decision. That is an ownership decision. All of this screams dysfunction to me. Bill Guerin had the opportunity to take the GM position. He turned it down because he thought that there was too much dysfunction. Gullickson was probably offered the head coaching position. Why would he? He's seen this pattern. He knows No, it's good. And Gullickson was huge in that dressing room. Connor and Leon loved him. And I think that he was a bigger part of this
mistake. I think that was the biggest mistake they made, is not just
absolutely
bumping him up to have head coach. And
so
if you run Gullickson and Coffey, I think that you know, or some combination of those three and Woodcroft, right? Like,
I don't think any of them want to work with Coffey though, Kev.
no,
That's the thing. Like, you're not.
And
why would you want to come in and
Gullickson,
be with the owner's snitch? I'm sorry. Like, I don't love this Coffey move at all. Like, I don't. He hasn't been successful. This is going to bring more dysfunction to the room, more dysfunction to the organization. There was a lot of circumstantial evidence out there that he pushed them too hard in practices, and it came out in interviews that a lot of the players didn't like when Paul ran practice in the playoffs, and they thought that they were tired in the finals. So how is all this going to be taken? Like, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe there's a new coach bump. Maybe these guys play a little better, but I do not see this whatsoever as a good long-term plan. I think both
I don't think this
and
is at all
Knobloch's
a
days are
long-term
numbered.
plan.
Then what are we doing?
it can't be a long-term plan, but the one thing I know is, like Batman in the night, Coffey will remain in the organization long after he leaves the bench. That's the one thing I do know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, I'm pretty sure that, now someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but was part of Gullickson's decision not to do with the fact that his daughter goes to college in Texas, like something that allowed him to be closer to his daughter?
Yeah, a really good friend of mine's daughter played on the same team as his daughter in Calgary, actually.
Yeah.
Gully lived in Calgary for the last 10 years or whatever. He wasn't in Edmonton either.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, she did go down
that's
there.
part of it. That's part of it. And to Kevin's point, like maybe Gullickson and Coffey on the bench would have been the answer. I don't know. Like, we've said it a couple times. None of us are in the room. I've never been on a pro hockey bench. I don't know. I don't know how good of a coach he is, and I'll never know. But
At the end of the
I don't
day,
think
it
any of
doesn't
us
matter because it
do.
wasn't.
I don't think it wasn't an option. But for Coffey specifically, though, like, I can't say that he's the reason that the defense was as good as it was in the last two seasons where they made the Cup Finals. Like, I think that's correlation more than causation. Until I have evidence to prove otherwise, it's correlation, not causation. Right? So we'll find out this season.
Yep.
Right? We're about to find out if Cosby really is the defense whisperer and he turns the team around, and we go back to the finals and maybe even win it all this year. And we look back at this as a turning point. Then I'll start to agree with the people that say we needed Coffey back on the bench all along, and having Stewart and Knobloch around was stupid and blah, 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 blah.
I think there's somewhere in the middle, though, right? Like, I think
the truth.
I think he's a defense whisperer in terms of making smart hockey plays. Like, the breakout has fundamentally devalued for this organization, basically from every player but Bouchard this season. And he forces those guys to make plays.
And part of it is the D making plays. They're the ones having to execute it. But part of it's also the forwards getting open and executing the system properly, right? So and I feel the forward, the quality of the forward group in this roster is way lower than it has been the last couple of years. And I think that plays a huge role in why the D aren't breaking the puck out as nicely as they were. Right, so
also different D.
We're gonna find out. It is a fairly different group. At the start of the season, it wasn't, but it's evolved over the course of the season. So, I mean, we're gonna find out. That's the one good thing I see in this, is that we're gonna find out just how much of this is coaching related and how much of this is player quality related.
Let me ask you a question, and you don't have to answer if you don't want, Kev.
Get me with your best shot, bud.
When Connor McDavid's contract is up for renewal in 2 years, will Jackson or Knobloch or both still be on this team?
Going by the half-life of head coaches, probably not Chris Knobloch. It's 2.6 years, the average Oilers head coach lifespan, and we've already exceeded that. I think, unless Chris can really command that initial attention again, and you can label them coach killers if you want. I just think that this is a team that thrives on new philosophy and new ideas and not getting like, I don't know what happens with this organization, but a new coach joins. They have some clever ideas. They do some cool shit. They break some players out into doing unique roles, for example, or having an identity that isn't just Connor and Leon. And then they go for a crazy playoff run with these new ideas, and they do pretty well. And then by the end of the summer, they come out the next year with half of the ideas of the old coaching staff. Like, it's like there's a library that they're forced to study of, well, when the going gets tough, just stack up Connor and Leon and send it, right? And I get it. They're the two best players in the world. There's no doubt there. But like, watching what happens when new ideas show up versus what happens in the subsequent 2 seasons, eventually patterns start to emerge, and I'm starting to see patterns from coach to coach to coach that make me wonder if there's some organizational stuff at play here rather than the coaching staff. And I'm okay with swapping the coach every 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is. I don't honestly have an issue with that. If that's what the team needs to be successful, great. It just would be nice to let the guys that we're hiring to be the professional head coaches cook to their, unfettered capability.
Yeah, I think that was really well said. But was it also a dodge on half of my question?
No, I said I'm not sure that Knobloch will be here. I honestly, it depends on if Jackson and Bowman see eye to eye or not, because at a certain point, having dysfunction at that level is super toxic to the rest of the team and the management staff and the front office and whatever else. So I don't know how those guys' relationship is. I don't imagine Jeff Jackson and Ken Holland's relationship was particularly good towards the end of Ken Holland's tenure. So will Jeff Jackson be here? Sure. I really don't think Jeff Jackson being here or not, or Knobloch being here or not, will have any output on whether Connor McDavid signs here again or not. I know that's not the question you asked, but I want to take that one head on just because it's kind of front and center. I don't think that the players and the people that surround McDavid are as important to McDavid as everybody makes it out to be. Aside from Leon himself and a couple of other key people, I don't think like the coaches or the staff or whatever, I think that is an artificial constraint that the team has put on itself to try and appease Connor, when from all intents and purposes, from his love letter to the Edmonton fan base and to Canada prior to the Olympics and whatnot, he wants to be here and he wants to win. And Daryl Cates should be reading that "I want to win" thing, and that should be the thing that is on the office wall in every room of that facility. I want to win. That's more important than anything else. And how you achieve that may be a bit ruthless in places. It involves making bold and smart decisions that we see occasionally with this organization, but not as frequently as we'd like. And then we see them hamstring themselves with dumb contract decisions that really affect their ability to be able to close the door all the way. We got the job done, put the file folder in the drawer, whatever you want it, like whatever euphemism you want to give it. They've hamstrung themselves in ways that were avoidable. And if they just maintain the philosophy of "I want to win," at the organizational top level, and really took that philosophy, I think they would start thinking a little bit less about Connor and a little bit more of the team, and I think that would end up serving Connor just fine.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't ask the question, but you wanted to take that head on, and that's fine. I think it'd be pretty fun to play with Macklin Celebrini in San Jose too. You also said something I'd like to add to it, in the fact that it depends how Bowman and Jackson get along. I also honestly kind of think that depends on how Jackson and Cates get along too. I'm not saying he would, but
From a straight hockey level, though, how those two interact is way more important than how
Sure.
Jack, because like that's like a peripheral level relationship, Kate's to Jackson to the team to an extent.
Here's why I say it though, and you're not wrong, except that I think Jackson hired Bowman so he can fire Bowman. Whereas if we're talking about Jackson not wanting to be there, it's happened for two reasons. He feels slighted because the owner keeps sticking somebody in the dressing room, or he gets fired. So that's I think more a Kate's thing than a Bowman thing is the reason I'd go there, although what you said isn't wrong. Ryan, when Connor McDavid's contract is up in 2 years, are Knobloch and Jackson both still there?
I'm kind of with Kevin in saying that I don't think Connor's going anywhere, regardless of
I
who's
didn't
in
ask that
power.
question.
Yeah, but at this rate, I mean, given the pattern we've seen with Coffey and all the coaching changes that seem to happen within calendar year of his being thrust closer to the team than he was before, I don't think Knobloch makes it through the first year of his extension. Right. I worry for this year's iteration of the team. I don't see this as a cup finals team unless something happens at the deadline, which we'll see. I have room for that asterisk as part of my argument. But this first sign of trouble next season, especially if we don't win it all this year, Knobloch's gone. That's just kind of the way it is. He was Jackson's guy, not Bowman's guy. So Bowman's going to want a chance to hire his guy, right? And Mark Stewart was a Woodcroft hire, not even a Knobloch hire. So I think Stewart would be right out the door with Knobloch within the next year at some point. But that's kind of how I see it going on. And with Jackson, it really depends on how bad things go this year. If it's a first round exit, this might be a lot of things happening in the summer, because it seems pretty clear that there's some sort of dysfunction somewhere between Cates and Jackson.
Or even Jackson go like Arvidsson, Skinner. Those were pre-Bowman moves, right? And like
that whole situation was so weird because, I mean, we should have all seen Bowman coming as soon as Jackson said that he was going to handle the draft and free agency, because we knew that Bowman was going to be eligible for reinstatement after those events happened, right? But I think that I never was on board with the Bowman hire for multiple reasons. But I haven't minded his body of work as an Oilers GM so far. I say that taking into consideration that, yeah, I do think this roster is weaker than last year's, but given the situation, I've liked some of the cheaper moves that he's made, like Kapanen and Put Coles and making room for Savoy this year. Like, I've liked a lot of those moves, but I've said this a lot, that it's a transitional season, and I say that just because of the situation with Draisaitl and Bouchard's raises, the cap only going up by $7.5 million, us having to trim payroll just to field a roster this year, right? Having to get younger and faster, like all those things are factors. So given those constraints, I think Bowman's done a decent job. So I think it would be short-sighted if Katz was to be like, fire everybody right now or at the end of the season, right? Yeah. But I could see Jackson going out the door at the end of the summer if something bad happens, like if it's a first-round exit or we get swept or something like that. I could see that happening.
Part of why my brain keeps going there too is even going back into the chat, and I think you touched on it as well, Kev, but where will Coffey end up next year? I don't see, he didn't want to coach last year. He didn't want to coach this year. He actually moved back to Toronto this year. He wasn't living in his Edmonton place. He wanted to spend more time with his family, and he's getting dragged back into this again. I highly doubt he becomes a head coach of this team. Highly, highly doubt in any circumstance whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Now, I saw in the chat he becomes the next GM. I also think that reeks of desperate and stupid, making a person a GM that's never been a GM before. But if you can be the special advisor to the owner, you could certainly be the POHO.
Top hot take, but there's only like 2 GMs in history that have won cups with multiple teams, and Bowman's already cashed that shit. So
That's one of the reasons I was against it.
yeah, it's I see where you're coming from. Not to like throw gasoline and or fire retardant on your fire, but like
Go ahead, gaslighter.
it's, to me, that's a tough spot, and I have to wonder if the power dynamic shifted as we went into the Olympic break. I have to wonder if Bowman has been given a good deal more latitude to make decisions, and we'll see what happens coming out of this, and if who is still in direct control, I guess, because I have a feeling those two are hamstringing each other, and I can pretty much guarantee you that Cates wasn't happy with this situation. So
yeah, that's accurate. I mean, is the GM not giving the coach the players to execute, so he keeps going nuclear, or is the coach not being able to execute a strategy?
I think there's a bit of dysfunction all the way around that they still need to fight through, and I think that there's some optimization to do. I agree with Lotsy. I do kind of want to see them not empty the cupboards this year. Like, make an honest effort. I'm not saying don't do anything, but I also wouldn't be burning firsts or major prospects in pursuit of this season. I have that conversation with Connor and Leon saying we're going to do the best we can, but we've been at this for a half decade now, and we kind of need to stock up a little bit for the next decade.
I really liked what you said on Low Tide Show today, Kev. Like, maybe I'll just ask you the same question and also get Lotsy's perspective on the same question Alan asked you. Is, would you expect, or maybe you could reword it for me if I'm not verbatim, but would you be surprised, or would you expect to see either Savoy or Howard traded at the deadline this year?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I would think that that's a short-sighted move if they do.
You said it would have to be perfect, right? Like the deal.
Yeah, it would have to be. The deal would have to be perfect. It would have to be for a player that is younger, that has term left, or that you have rights control over for a period of time. Like, we cannot afford to get older as an organization. Like, we have Leon for 8 years. We have to consider those 8 years. As much as everybody in the ownership group, I'm sure, wants to be, now, more money now. Playoff runs make money. You have to have a team for the next decade if you want to, if you really want to cash that shit. If you want to justify those, $20 beers for the next decade, then there has to be a product worth watching. And the only way that there's going to be a product worth watching is that they stop lighting assets on fire, doing stupid shit.
Agreed. Like, I've been talking about this for years. We're going to have Connor and Leon for years. And if that's the expectation, then you got to have prospects coming through the pipeline, right? I feel like they dropped the ball on that in the last 7-8 years, going back to even before the Ken Holland era. But right now is not the time to deviate from that. Right now is not the time to load up with the high cap hit, big impact player. You just don't have the cap space for it, but you will this summer. So if you just one playoff run, you go with what you got. If you don't happen to make a third consecutive final, that sucks.
But that's also
your owner's going to have some patience.
Right? Like, that is the statistical likelihood is that they won't have 3 in a row.
Exactly.
And if we need, not if, we do, if we do not trade Howard or Savoy, we need them to be contributing players in the playoffs.
Yep.
How do you become a contributing player in the playoffs? Experience, reps. Use this year, get the guys conditioned, get them to understand playoffs. Hopefully you make it past the first round.
Clear some new no movement clauses out of the way that are major roadblocks.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Use your $20 million in cap space that's coming and the gift that Connor gave you and go spend it wisely. And I think Stan Bowman's legacy will probably be defined
I guess we need
this
to call in
offseason.
our sleeper agent over in San Jose. Hey, and just Macklin Celebrini for Nurse 1 for 1.
Yeah, I'm sure the Sharks will be quick to they'll be chomping at the bit to get that deal done.
I mean, maybe if we got Mike Greer in a room with some LSD, but I don't see any other way.
Once an Oiler, always an Oiler, bud. Come on, I believe.
Look,
He
I
helped
gotta
us out by taking CC off our hands once already.
go to the comments here. I think there's been something brought up that we've not talked about that is really a key part of this that perhaps we've glazed over. I don't know who the heck Lixie Locks is, but she's in the comments saying, "Did Dry's comments have anything to do with this move?" That's a great question, you guys, because we all said it. We thought it would happen when break hit. Maybe it was not quite planned yet. Maybe it wasn't planned at all.
Yeah.
But when your true vocal leader says what he said,
Or
God,
there's two ways you can look at it, though. You can look at it is, what did he prompt the move, or did he make that comment based on noise that was in the wind, knowing that there's organizational churn already under? Like, is that the seed planting, or is that the seed sprouting, right? Like, and that's
or is that him cranking the gears?
Yeah, turn it over, start her up.
Something does that happen himself?
That's right.
I think a little bit of context is needed here, because we got to remember that those comments came at the end of the 3-game losing streak, but that was shortly after he went back to Germany and dealt with a personal matter. And you could tell in the interviews immediately upon his arrival home from Germany, or back here from Germany, something happened over there, because it was weighing on him. You could see it in his body language. You could see it in his face. So he's got that personal issue going on. Then the team loses 3 straight, and he's got the Olympics coming up, and there's lots of stress. Flag bearer is a great honor, but added stress. I don't know everything that's going on in Leon's head, but I think we saw some stress release happening. It was him venting, him blowing up. It was something therapeutic for him a little bit, because it is so rare to see a player, regardless of how good he is, send shots up the bow like he did. Right? I think that
several bows.
Several bows. I wrote it in the article that I wrote about that after it happened. Like, I think he was really just trying to say everyone needs to be better, like give that generic cliche answer, but he started listing people and then it got specific, right? And he tried to clear the air with Ryan Ashog at the Olympics in that one-on-one. He's like, yeah, I was really just trying to say everyone needs to be better, and himself included, which he said that's what he meant by leadership group. It's him and Connor and Nursey and Nuge and all those guys, the leadership group, right? But he did single out the coaching, and there's been lots of heat on Knobloch's seat, and not just Knobloch, but Stewart as well this season. So it's all part of it, and I'm sure even if there was a little bit of frustration, it came out there. But Kate's is sitting there looking at that and saying, my star player saying that, and I'm already having these sorts of feelings about my middling team that I expect to be a cup contender. I got to do something. Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was sitting there thinking that at all.
But at the same time, the cap is a hard cap, and there has been material impediments to their ability to make moves with the team, some of which predate the management group that is there currently, or currently in charge anyways. And like you said, when you have $12 million in salary bumps for your 2 players, including Leon himself, something's got to give somewhere. They can't, it's not like they can say, hey, Gary, can you lend us some cap for a year? Like, that's not how it works. They still got the Campbell buyout on the books for another season. Like, there are tangible reasons why this team
got the Frederick buyout coming.
God, no.
16 years that'll be on the books.
I honestly don't think they buy that contract out.
You can't. It's impossible.
Well, it's not impossible.
Wow.
It's just
Well, not
Doesn't-
yet.
I don't understand the term on it. I don't understand the term. You keep guys like that hungry, right? It's like Kapanen. You're not going to give Kapanen a 5-year deal. You're going to give him a 1-year or maybe a 2-year deal and say keep earning it. There's people that you can give oodles of money to forever and they'll bring the same shit every single week. Leon, Connor, whoever. And then there's guys that sort of put it on cruise control, and there's less examples for the Oilers than other teams. Like Jeff Skinner got paid, Zibanejad got paid. Like those guys have Huberdeau got paid. Those guys are, arguably they were those are big contracts for those players to begin with, but there's an element of delivery once those contracts are signed where guys sort of just coast, and they would have been better off if they had to earn their next contract on a year-over-year basis. So I don't understand the term analytically. I don't understand the term. We saw not very much out of him out of the playoffs due to his injury. That was worth spending the assets that we spent on it.
I think your cat has something to say.
Yeah, no, she wants attention. That's fine. She can wait.
It's ugly.
This team has more problems than just one roster slot or one. Like there is a little bit of an organizational cleanse that needs to occur, and it's not actually like a people cleanse; it's a mindset cleanse. I think there's been some
like
real
30 years now.
bad blood, not bad blood in the traditional sense, but like I think that losing in the Stanley Cup Finals twice has left a pretty indelible mark on and they need to get past it and back to playing good hockey.
Okay. Is that cat's name Patrick?
The cat's name is Lucy. She's a big baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Dry's comments are pretty telling. There's a couple of ways that you can try and get rid of a coach. If somebody's trying to get rid of a coach, which is
the most effective way is to fire them. Just throwing it out there, right?
Sure, or quit on them if you're a player because you can't do the firing, or crank that wheel. Like some stranger said it in the comments, he doesn't think that Dry Knobloch relationship's been right since he got benched.
I don't agree with that because he went and scored a friggin' hat trick the next game or something, right?
Hey, some stranger didn't say it affected Dry's output. He said it affected the relationship.
Well,
now I don't know how you
Dry was that. Like, so okay.
I don't know how you quantify
we need to have like a conversation then, right? If your coach can't hold your star player accountable one time without them getting pissy, I don't believe that. I genuinely don't. I don't believe that.
I'm not sure where that comment's coming from some stranger because he got benched. It was that Philadelphia game 4 of last season.
He took a dumb sticking penalty.
And then he went on. He got a beautiful assist on the game-tying goal, scored the game winner, and went on to win the Rocket Richard. And then they win the Cup final. So I don't see the strain that you do. So I'm just not sure where that comment's coming from.
Hard to quantify for sure. I think it's all gone to shit since we lost George Mumford. Let's be honest.
Fair.
Reasonable crash out.
That playoff run.
Reasonable crash out.
But guys, we're coming up on 2 hours here on episode 11 of the Heavy Hockey Podcast. So I'm thinking we should do our final thoughts here and bring this thing to a close. As host tonight, I'm going to go last. So I think, clockwise makes some sense here. So I'll pass it over to Kev for his final thoughts and then go Dash and I'll close the night.
Not really many final thoughts. Again, just shout out to the Heavy Hockey Showdown. That's coming up in the next 30 days. Looking forward to that event. Hope that Team Canada can stay healthy long enough to finish out the tournament. Really do want to see that Canada-US game. I think that's good for the sport overall, even though this might be a little bit of an interesting experience, but they got to win the game against Finland first, and that needs to be their primary focus. And I have not much doubt that that's all they're worried about at the moment, is what's right in front of them. So we'll see how injuries affect that team, and then, starting with the coaching today, we'll see what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. If the team has any moves that have been planned, I don't know. Maybe you see somebody like Matthias Janmark waived or something like that. I do think, and I said this on Low Tide Show this morning, that there is likely to be a new philosophy on accountability coming out of the coaching staff once they return to play. I think that you're more likely to see guys that were unbenchable before spend some time in the press box. Sorry, my cat is like pushing on the monitor and it's like shaking the camera and stuff. So she's desperate for pettings or something here. Anyhow, it's going to be an interesting couple months. I hope the team shows a little restraint. I know that restraint doesn't win money, or win cups and earn money, I guess, more accurately. But I think that the team needs to be realistic about, do they want to be viable for the rest of Draisaitl's contract and hopefully McDavid's next contract, right? Like, I think that they need to have some hard conversations with asset management here, because they've wasted a lot of them and they need to recoup some of those now.
What do I got to say? Fun being on here, you guys. I can't believe it's been 2 hours. Time flies. Shout out to the Showdown. If you missed it earlier, just please go either to our website, heavyhockey.com/showdown, or to our socials where we have the silent auction posted. We have tickets for the pre-party posted, and we hope to see you out when we take it to Edmonton Sports Talk this year. We don't have to put Janmark on waivers, Kevin, because our Oilers, very own Oilers fanatic in the chat has Janmark going with Nurse to San Jose for Celebrini. So we don't want to waste that.
Seems reasonable. Throw in some Mangiapane action there too.
Yeah, sure.
This calf situation open.
Sure, right. Which makes, Patrick about as much of a contribution to this as Lucy tonight. But that said, the Olympics are cool. This has been a really, really fun day of sports, let alone a fun day of hockey. Super, super looking forward to the women's final, looking forward to the semifinal, and then hopefully Canada in the gold medal game. Looking to see how many more fingers we can put on granite on the pebble. And,
dude, some of those memes are hilarious. Like, so,
did you see the one AI video with Jacob like sliding through the entire ice surface all the way down to the circles, and then just like doing a spread eagle to knock all the rocks out, and then they were getting accused of cheating?
There was one that came out later today of him poking in the Mitch Marner overtime goal. Which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Or the woman yells at cat meme. That was another one that was floating around too.
The woman cat's yelling at you right now, Kevin.
Yeah, well, I think they replaced it with him and the pointing at the rock instead. Anyhow,
I love it all.
I love the internet, man. It's a real shithole sometimes, but there's some funny stuff that comes out of it.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about AI. It's a real shithole, but some funny things come out of it. That's probably a good way for me to end it tonight, Ryan.
It sounds like a good plan. Yeah, this Olympics. I mean, today I think this was the best slate of quarterfinal games I think we've ever seen. We had 2 comebacks, 3 overtimes, 3-on-3 overtime in the Olympics is something else. So that was a real treat to watch today. Semis are going to be great. Can't wait for the women's gold medal game. Go Canada, go! Even though I'm a little worried. And yeah, so that's all I'll say about the Olympics for now. We'll put a bow around those next week when we're on. And Heavy Hockey Showdown, so many people to thank, all of our Heavy Hockey Planning Committee. I know, Dash, you're integral in lining up the event for the venue for our pre-party this year and trying to track down sponsors for us. And Willie Skinner doing everything that she's done for the getting silent auction items. And once again, thank you to our sponsors, Turtle Island Technology Solutions, Sherwood Park Counseling Center, and Flirt Cupcakes. And yeah, so looking forward to the event on the 14th. Some of you may know that I've been kind of doing a weight loss challenge as part of my fundraising for the event. The goal is to lose 12 pounds in 8 weeks. And I rough week this week with a friend ski trip this weekend who had a little too much fun and refreshments. So we fell off the wagon a little bit, but you know what? The goal's still well within reach, and we're back on it this week. So we're feeling good and working towards that goal. And yeah, so if you want to help me out with that, I've got my donation page pinned to my X profile at Lots Ryan, where you'll also find my latest article that I wrote up today about the Coffey situation. And that's a good segue into this, which Coffey is a good friend and special advisor to Daryl Cates. Anytime he gets thrust closer to the team, I have no option but to think that Cates was involved in some way, shape, or form. And this is, of course, all speculation. I'm not in the room. I'm not privy to those conversations, but the optics don't look good. And it just, as I said, I talked about it being super toxic earlier, but this is what I'm going to say about Cates. He's done so many great things for the Oilers and the city of Edmonton. He gave the team financial stability when we didn't have it and we needed it. He was integral in getting us a brand new arena, Rogers Place, and the Ice District, and what he's done for the Ice District and revitalizing downtown Edmonton has been fantastic. But his ownership reign is going to be marred by his impatience. He always wants the biggest brand names available in hockey ops, whether it was Bob Nicholson or Ken Holland or Peter Chiarelli. And I thought the Jeff Jackson hiring was a great hiring, and I think Jackson's done a lot of great things for the organization. Didn't love him in the 2 weeks he was GM, but that's neither here nor there. But the Coffey thing, it's just distrust and dysfunction and toxicity. He's got to let the people in place do what they're trained to do. And Cates needs to do what he's trained to do, which is own the team, get money coming in. And his impatience is all about, he wants to win more than anything. I know that. Like, he's just come out and said that so many times. He's passionate about the Oilers and he wants to win a Stanley Cup here. I know that he does, but just sometimes a little patience is needed. And that is not bringing Paul Coffey back onto the bench in this situation. It just isn't. So I hope I'm wrong about all this. I hope it works out with Coffey, and I hope he is the prophet that we need to get our defensemen playing the right way again. But I'm not convinced that he is. So anyway, guys, on that note, thank you very much for tuning into the Heavy Hockey Podcast. For Kevin McCurdy and Dash in the Park, I'm Lotsy. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your night.